And I keep telling Brian, in our line, if you don't reinvent yourself, you're going to die.
Yeah, this is one thing that Soo Wincci always talks about, reinventing, right?
Yeah.
How do you think we can help these young people not forget who they are and not forget the culture that surrounds our food and our heritage?
As a social media creator or content creator nowadays, that is 80 or 90% representing the younger generation, right? So we have no choice to go to that way and plant a community there. It's the same thing as if I want to tackle the market, you have to come to a midpoint. Meaning, I do what you want, I also put what I want. You can't force them. Nowadays generation, I went for teaching, you force them, you punish them, they're not going to come back and they're going to hate you.
Why, hello there, food lovers, and welcome to The Hungry Immigrant, the place where flavors cross borders and cultures unite. I'm your host, Abang Brian, coming to you with stories, secrets, and the irresistible charm of Asian cuisine and heritage. Each week, we'll journey into the heart of what makes food more than just a meal. We'll talk to chefs, celebrities, home cooks, and food enthusiasts who have brought their heritage to our tables. From the bustling streets of Kuala Lumpur to the vibrant markets of Manila and Seoul to the Chinatowns of New York, Paris, and Toronto, we're exploring the magic of food that connects us all. So join us as we delve into the rich tapestry of Asian food culture and heritage, celebrating the traditions and innovations that make our culinary world so diverse and exciting. Now, get ready as today's episode promises to be a flavorful journey. So you have traveled a lot, as you mentioned, UK, Spain, Taiwan, right? Do you see our traditional recipes being adapted to local taste? Is it being changed? How do you see it change?
Okay, I remember when I was in UK, we have something called Yee Sang.
Okay.
Yee Sang is for Chinese New Year, where it's a salad tossed.
It's a tossed salad. Yeah, longevity tossed salad,
but with Chinese ingredients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in the UK, I saw them using their local kind of like ingredients, which you can't get it there in UK. I think they were substituting a lot of that with fruits and everything. Back then, we have a lot of things very traditional, but then they were being very creative. If you go Chinatown now, you're going to see a lot of them selling Yee Sang, right? Now, I remember they were doing that because for Malaysian students, we were like...
Yeah, so to that point, Yee Sang actually is now usually during the Lunar New Year.
Yes.
It's a salad. It's an appetizer that actually every single element represents something. And... I stand corrected, but I still believe that the origins of it is actually Malaysian.
It's Malaysian.
Yeah, because originally the Chinese people didn't have this in China.
No, this is Malaysian.
Yeah, back in the days when I did it, and I told when we were students abroad and talked to Chinese people,
they're like,
what is this?
Yeah.
And we're like, so it is the argument historically. I cannot give you the exact reference.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But it is actually from Seremban, if I'm not mistaken, a town in the state of Negeri Sembilan of Malaysia. And then, of course, Singapore being the neighboring country, and they always want to claim that it's everything that's Malaysian is Singaporean as well. I think we share that because we have shared history as well. But now it's like a big, huge thing. Like everyone does it.
Everyone does it, and it becomes like a trend. I guess social media also took it up.
You have witnessed the modification of ingredients and whatever not, right? And actually, to the Chinese culture, right, this Yee Sang, every single component means something.
Yes.
So when they replace it, do you think it's like spoiling the meaning?
I try and duplicate, because I cook as well, so I try to duplicate that dish in UK back then. I don't blame them, because some ingredients are too expensive there. Remember durian here is like so cheap, right?
Yeah.
In Spain it's like 60 euro. I saw it, I was like, who's going to buy that?
Yeah.
I can buy like a whole kind of basket of durians in Malaysia. We can't even find back then. There was no export of all these things that much that yet. So it's so tough to find.
Okay.
So sometimes, when you are living there and having limited budget, having limited resources, you have to re-innovate. Why people re-innovate? There are causes for that. I was one of the leader and a committee member for Malaysian Night. I have almost 80 Malaysian students there who were craving for Yee Sang, and they were telling me that we only have certain budget.
Yeah.
So me as a chef, I have to reinvent, right? I have to work around that. So we try to preserve, of course, right? But certain territories, we have no choice.
Right. So Malaysian night is like usually when students are abroad, it's like a day where you celebrate Malaysian
Actually, it's a
culture?
week.
It's a Malaysian week. Okay.
Performance, we have play, we have music, we have food.
So it's like AAPI month, but just focusing on Malaysia.
Yeah, Malaysian week.
If I remember correctly, there's always this crunchy element
Yes.
that we scatter around,
Yes.
and it's supposed to represent the money that you scatter that will enter your house.
Yes.
So if you replace it with something else, don't you think that the meaning will be lost?
Well, all these things was created like all as philosophical, symbolic, right? So for us, it's like, okay, as long as crispy.
Right, okay. I got
You know, but the thing is like, it's very tough if you want to remake that because some traditional dishes take you like 20 hours. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I was like, not to say I don't want, but okay, back then, if there's no social media and you know things are not so expensive, I still have the luxury of the time. Not to say we don't want, but we are pushed by the advancement and the tech, the time. So sometimes I have no choice if you want to bring back that, but you know, and things are more expensive or hard to find.
But I think the point that you put out is actually very apt in the sense that when it comes to traditions, sometimes it's about the philosophy.
It's a philosophy, yeah.
The symbolic and the meaning is more important than the thing itself. So
Yes.
I think also come back to Yee Sang, we have this pouring of, I think,
It's
hoisin
a
sauce.
plum
sauce. Okay, so plum
It's a
sauce is
plum
supposed to be
sauce.
sweet.
Sweet.
It's supposed to represent like, it says tian tian mi mi.
Tian Tian Mimi, it's something like you
sweet
glue
memories,
together
yeah.
and everything. Yeah. So I remember that time, you know, they were like, hey, represent, but we try to find back the taste.
Yeah.
You know, I try to make as close as possible.
Yeah.
Right? So because I remember back then here, they used maybe other elements and stuff
Yeah.
there. I actually use like, remember the jam?
Yeah.
You
So
know
it's
what-
it's sweet, right? Because it's supposed to the sweetness of life. It's supposed to represent the sweetness of life. So if it's honey, if it's anything, so as long as it's like, you know.
Yeah, it's you know that
So
it's
that's
not going to taste wrong, right? So a lot of times I was like, hey, I remember that time I did it the sauce. I remember my all the friends would say, hey, but we want this and stuff. Yeah, I try my best to make it nice. So
You do it.
yeah, I was like, but we only have plum sauce. Plum jam. Jam is different than plum sauce, right?
It is
So
definitely
I reinvented. I make some sesame oil and I add something. It you know guess what? At the end, the sauce tastes nicer than the
The
previous.
original.
Yeah. So I was like, you know, sometimes all these things, it's not to say we try our best to preserve, but sometimes maybe you add something new, it come out with something new with it enhance the flavor. Yeah. So it's philosophical. It's like some of them because they are too into that heritage. I think at the end you won't have that enjoyment anymore, right? So I guess it's just a balance.
Besides this Yee Sang, right, are there any traditional practices or dishes that you feel personally, no matter what, we need to preserve?
Because we grew up here, we are Malaysian, right?
Yeah.
A lot of Malaysian food, I think, have to be preserved.
Yeah.
Especially, I think, like laksa.
Okay.
I love laksa so much. But I don't know, some country, they don't like it,
Okay.
right?
So which kind of laksa? So laksa
love
in general is like, okay. So laksa in general, for people who tuning in from around the world,
Yeah.
it's a noodle-based dish. It's usually served with a gravy. Depending on which state you are in,
Yes.
sometimes it's fish-based, sometimes it's prawn-based,
Prawn-based.
sometimes it's curry chicken-based.
Yes,
It
yes.
can be, it's very different, but
It's very
basically
different.
it's a noodle soup kind of dish.
Yeah.
It's spicy
Yeah, but it's spicy and sour.
and sour.
And sour, some of my friends can't take it. They felt weird.
So the one that you're talking about is asam laksa.
Assam is the most extreme one. I think that had to be preserved.
I think that represents your identity. Like
Oh, yes.
you as a person.
Yes.
It's never Soo Wincci is like
Yeah.
it's you do or die.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna just do it the best.
Yes.
Don't just do it halfway. So like Assam laksa is
Yeah.
like a very fish-based noodle
Noodles,
dish,
yeah.
which Assam actually translates to sour, and it is well known for the sour taste.
Yeah,
and
it's the jazz,
Yeah.
geez, and it's the whole blend of flavor, which brings back the memory as well for us, right? I think Assam laksa is hard to innovate in some ways that you want that distinct taste. Especially in Malaysia, we have a lot of, we call it ulam, like vegetables, but it have herbs, remedies inside, right? For me, I guess that those patai or whatever, this type have to be preserved. Some of them, the young ones might not like it anymore, right? But I was still introduced to my friends and stuff that all these things represent our culture. And the best thing is they have a lot of herbs and remedies inside eating all these things.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about innovation,
Yeah.
reinvention. Now I bring to you this concept, authenticity. Do you believe in authenticity? What is authenticity to you, first of all?
I do. Let's say in branding or, all these things, right? authenticity is something where it kind of represents your integrity in some ways as well. Because, nowadays, a lot of people try to be someone online, on the stage. I learn a lot, like, because I go to a lot of stage, big or small. The higher you go, if you're not authentic enough, you are going to lose yourself in some ways. Because it's a managing a promise, right?
Okay.
So I try to be authentic as possible in some ways where speak it from my heart and also, very genuine. Because if you're trying to impersonate something too much, it's going to burst one day. And in the entertainment line, we hate it. And it's very stressed.
Yeah.
I don't have time to rest already.
Right.
So a lot of times and stuff, be yourself.
Nasi lemak is coconut,
Yes,
fragrant
coconut.
coconut with some sort of cheap lamb, and it's a national dish, one of the national dishes of Malaysia. People like to play with it, innovate it to become ice cream, to be a cake. So what I'm going to say is, isn't that like a nasi lemak trying to be something else?
It's trying to be someone, but the thing is, others are side dish only. The main one is still comes back to the main one. You get what I mean?
So you're talking about the essence of it. You just have to maintain the essence of it. Meaning to say,
Exactly.
it can take a different form,
You can take a different
but
one. That's right.
the essence must be the same.
Yeah, honestly, you can't force people not liking that thing in that form, right? Right? It's like teaching. You can't force one way. I have to use 10 ways. In music as well, I keep telling my student, you don't memorize the syllabus, because it can do one thing in 10 ways, 20 ways, 30 ways, right?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? I was like,
Like, she's talking from like a music perspective, and instantly I think of recipes.
it's true, right?
Unless it's pastry, okay?
That's
Unless
true.
it's pastry,
Yeah.
it's different. Pastry is different science, but like
Yeah.
cooking in general, like to memorize a recipe is you can't.
Exactly, right? Of course, like rice, the
Basic ratio.
the basic ratio must be there, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, we've been in competition before. We know that the chef say that, okay, you don't do stupid mistake, but you have to add on something, right?
Alright. So talking about inventing and adding on and whatever not in a short form,
form,
okay. These days, what inspires you to create recipes in a short form? Because
Short
she has a
form,
lot of inspiration. I know.
Yeah,
Right?
too much. I think now, what inspiration?
Yeah.
Honest, real?
Yeah.
Budget, because it's so expensive.
That's good. I think a lot of people will
It's
resonate.
true, right? I really don't buy branded anymore because I am an advocate of like budget.
Right.
I'm like that, They always think that I'm high maintenance, so sorry.
I think people listening will resonate with that because I think I set out on this journey to talk to people about different things, and especially when you talk to chefs and all. Sometimes I think people listening will be like, yeah, they can say that inspiration comes from travel, but I can't travel, or like maybe some people will say like, oh, I've experienced this culture and that culture, and I'm married to this person, but some people are not.
Yeah.
But ultimately, everyone comes back. Everyone has one thing that they think of, I think.
Yeah.
Which is money as well.
Yeah, and I guess that after COVID now, we all are in a kind of a shape where everyone is...
We're in there.
Yeah,
We're in
yeah.
the...
Yeah, it's true, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So budget.
And do you think that our food is actually not expensive?
Honestly, it used to be not expensive, but honestly, last month, I think last 2 weeks, even my my chef in bakery and food, everyone tell me the cost is getting higher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So for information, sales drop.
Wow.
So how bad it is. So I guess everyone is not easy after COVID, I would say. Now I see a lot of people innovate themselves. They buy their own utensil.
Ah.
And more people are going to cooking for your information.
Because it's cheaper. It's always cheaper to cook yourself.
It's cheaper, but again, I guess a lot of people find the joy of cooking during COVID. A lot of people say that they turn into chef and baking and stuff because of COVID. And because now advancement of tech and also all the online shopping, so cheap.
So it does help.
It did help a
does
lot.
help. It does
because you have to know what happened, changed the world, right?
Yeah.
So you have to know the causation and stuff. But this is the trend now. And I can see people like doing their own cooking party. Even like nowadays, they do their own recipe online. It kind of help them.
You're full-time in the entertainment industry and media industry, and you're not just limited by Malaysia.
No.
You are based in Taiwan, China market, the European market as well. Let's talk about media representation of Asian food. Have you seen the way the media has represented our food? Has it changed?
One thing, definitely the form of media have changed.
The form.
Okay, it used to be, I remember from TV to newspaper, magazine was one of the trend back then, our time. Now it's all bloggers and a lot of like TikTokers, a lot of like Instagrammers. I guess Instagram is the main, like a lot of food reviewing and stuff. So the form and influencer have changed, but the audience taste bud never really changed. Remember, like our time was reality show, right? Food, people always love to watch, no matter what.
If we look globally, right, I remember when I was younger, or even when you travel, right, when you talk about Asian food, number one in America is Chinese food. That was the first thing that people think of, Chinese food.
I understand.
And it was not seen as classy food. Asian food, Chinese food was seen as greasy, something that you have after beers. Takeaway, right?
I remember,
So do you see a change in that?
I definitely see a change when I saw a lot of them kind of incorporate Chinese element into fine dining.
Yeah.
That make a change. And I also saw amazing chef, Asian representative on TV shows. And they created something and they rebrand the whole thing. So we need people like that.
And the whole K-wave, right?
Yes, the K-wave and really enhance it. Asian in some ways are quite united. We are from that, we want to push that culture. And look at Oscar and everything. It's a lot of Chinese are going up there and stuff. It's not just food. I guess that art as well, music as well. I remember back then, nobody wants to listen to Mando Pop, honestly.
Exactly.
Remember?
It's the same thing as
Do
food.
you know now how big is Mando Pop? Huge. Because of China population. Now it's so big until like when I went for meetings and stuff, right? They want Chinese content. You believe it or not. Yeah. Even my friend in America, in Spain, or in a lot of countries, and even in Malaysia, my Malay friends learn Chinese.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, it's like because it's it's the top 2 now, the languages.
In terms of statistics, so it depends on which study you are and which like there are a few criteria. I remember someone said that like the Indian language also because of the population.
Indian as well. Yeah. Spanish as well.
Spanish because of the whole Latin American population. I think there has been a change the way we see food.
A lot. I guess every culture or heritage stand a place, no matter how big or small.
There is a place for them.
There is a place. I always appreciate diversity.
To the elder generations and to the younger generation, what would your advice be to help preserve our food traditions? The younger generation.
The younger one, okay? One thing I guess that go deeper and don't be fooled just by the surface of social media for that generation, because they are, especially COVID babies.
Yeah.
I thought a lot of COVID babies because, especially these few years I came down and see them, it's not their fault.
Correct.
Because they were trapped. And after coming out, they are quite a bit left behind in the offline world, right? So I would encourage them to travel, to come down and see themselves rather than just see online, right? Whereas the older people, I think it's the opposite where, can you don't be so stubborn and try more things? Sometimes when I speak to my grandma or I think some of my like my mom and dad, I was like, can you just try?
Yeah.
You know, like when they go for our graduation, they don't even try the food there.
Right.
You know, I remember my parents, even I have so many degrees and master and PhD, right?
Correct.
Imagine how many graduation I went before, right?
Right.
I brought them there every single time. Got Chinese food. Where's the Chinatown? Hey, we are in Venice. Can you please have the pizza? You want people to respect our culture, so you have to try the culture, right?
I think that's interesting. Yeah. What you're saying is like, for us to be proud of our culture and for people to actually love our culture, we've got to love other people's culture.
Yeah, same thing. If you don't give respect, how are you going to gain back the respect?
That's true.
You can't be one way, right?
The main message I get from you ever since the beginning of our conversation, right, is you are basically the combination of innovation and relevance to be juggled with tradition and authenticity, I guess.
Yeah, because honestly, tradition gives us color and identity.
Correct.
Right? Because I told them, even no matter how small or whatever, because I feel it when I travel. I represent Malaysia before, so I know I felt it. But people maybe doesn't feel it because they haven't been to the extreme yet. So,
and like for you, exposure and diversity, not only within our own culture, but exposure to the diversity of other people's culture. Also helps.
Yeah.
I feel that. I think I've always told people, which some people don't understand.
Yeah.
If you've not been outside your country, I feel that I am even more proud of my Malaysian heritage when I travel.
Yeah. You will miss Malaysia a lot. But of course, like, same thing. When you are too long in one place, you won't appreciate that, right?
That is true. Okay, so speaking of our Malaysian tradition, we have a tradition in this show where wherever I go in the world, we have this section where we taste something that comes from Malaysia. So we get some that are store-bought and some that are made by me.
Oh, nice.
And then we do a blind tasting and we see whether I really do know how to cook Malaysian.
Nice.
So this segment is called the Sambal Survey.
Nice.
Okay, so we have 3 bottles of sambal.
Okay.
One is made by me. We're just tasting it.
Yeah.
Even
No, I want to guess though.
you can guess, but it will be revealed only on our videos. Okay, so let's bring the sambal and then we're gonna taste it. This one is sambal tumis. So sambal tumis is basically the one that you have with nasi lemak, and it is like a spice paste made of garlic, onions, chilies, and then you cook it.
Cook it, yeah.
And yeah, so let's taste and let's see which one is the best to Dr. Soo Wincci.
Okay, before I taste, right? Can I just guess which is Brian just by looking at that?
Wow! Wow!
Who am I, right? I was in MasterChef, right? This is yours.
I can't remember. How do you know? I think so.
You know why? Remember what is called, you know what's pecah lemak, right?
Pecah minyak.
Minyak. Right? The Malay, they like to put more oil. Knowing Brian, I know that they will go healthy.
Okay, so let's try. Let's try the one that you think will be the most delicious first. I didn't tell you this is mine, huh?
You never tell ma. But
She thinks it's mine.
I think this will be the most delicious.
Okay, because of the amount of oil.
Yeah. When we're cooking, I was like, Chef, how you know it's mine? When you see, you really know.
It's the representation of the chef, right?
Yeah.
So yes, sambal needs oil. Okay. But
okay.
The truth is
second thing,
oil.
I don't know. First, I want to smell.
Okay.
You know, we have all this eye smelling tests in MasterChef. This is definitely Brian.
Oh.
You get what I mean, right?
I think.
Because Brian is quite healthy.
I think this one is the most delicious. Okay, let's taste. Let's taste the one that you think will taste the most delicious. Okay, let's taste that one.
I smell, I know already. When you smell it,
Yeah.
the taste is like very strong, very strong. I know it's like very Malay.
Oh.
And very spicy.
So this is really, really spicy.
Very spicy, very spicy.
Very oily. I can feel it.
Very oily, spicy.
Sweet.
Sweet. And when you smell it, wow, the taste is the most pungent.
I taste a lot of sweetness from the onions.
Okay, although it's sweet, it's very spicy though.
It's very spicy. It's too spicy for me. And I feel that it needs more either anchovies or shrimp paste. But this one is like, you know,
But
it
it's
reminds
nice,
me of the sambal that you get when you go to school. The school canteen.
Yes. 1 ringgit.
The 1 ringgit nasi lemak you get in that banana leaf. It's like a simple sambal bodoh, we call it.
Yeah.
Like simple sambal.
Yeah.
Okay. So that one.
Second one,
Next one, let's take this spoon. And then this one. Okay. Don't say so much, like so
a bit.
spicy, no? And this time I forgot to cook rice. My grandmother will say, "Ayo, Asian people, no rice, how can?"
This is not bad though.
Oh, I don't like this one. This one have more prawns
This one have more anchovies also.
and not too spicy.
It's not too spicy. The first one is very authentic, honestly.
So I feel like this one is more Chinese, like a Chinese sambal. So
It
Malaysian people, like there's a Malay more. I think the Malay profile is more sweet kind of sambal. The Chinese more shrimp paste, not too sweet.
Yeah. I want to try Brian soon.
It's not mine.
It is lah. I was like, it is. I think it's definitely Brian. It is.
If it's mine, it should be spicy because I've not been back to Malaysia for a long time, so the chili would be. So like the chilies everywhere I go.
No lah, it's you lah, that one. Did you cook the... you never cooked the sambal in Malaysia, right? I can taste this is an overseas sambal, you know.
Oh wow. Okay. So Wincci is so confident that this is mine. I can tell you it's not.
It's not.
And this is the most expensive sambal. If you want to check out which one was my sambal,
Damn.
check out the YouTube video. Okay.
I really thought it was yours, wait.
So yeah, I mean, okay, for you, what is a good sambal?
The blend of all the tastes together. and not too spicy. Because when it's too spicy, it kind of cover the whole sambal taste,
Yeah.
right?
And because usually sambal is like accompanying condiment, right?
Yeah.
It kills the whole dish, right? If it's
Yeah,
too spicy.
yeah. But if a good sambal will enhance the dish. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so that's our podcast for today, our episode for today. Before we leave, maybe Dr. Soo Wincci, you want to share with everyone what's latest?
You can follow me on Dr. Soo Wincci on Facebook, on Instagram, and Spotify, and everything. So definitely a lot of songs are coming out soon, and then maybe some acting stuff as well. But I'll be majoring on song for this period first.
Just music.
Yeah,
mostly
music first and stuff, because back in, I think, this 5 years, I've been revamping all my channels and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so more music coming. Yeah, but I'll be back on Mando Pop more first.
Okay.
Yeah, but definitely the Malaysian song. Hopefully one day English song as well. Spanish song, definitely.
So again, her socials are Dr. Soo Wincci,
Yeah.
and then if you're into research, all her research paper
You also can see on ResearchGate on You just type my name on Soo Wincci.
Soo Wincci
It will
will
be
come
on
up.
media production and social media
Right.
studies. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
spending this delicious hour with
Thank
me.
you.
And of course, to our audience members, those people who are listening, as usual, I'll always advise people to always keep their plates adventurous and their hearts open. This has been The Hungry Immigrant with me, Abang Brian. Terima kasih and thank you for joining us on yet another episode of The Hungry Immigrant. It's been a delightful feast of stories and flavors that remind us just how much food brings us together. Now don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you'll never miss an episode. And if you loved today's culinary journey, leave us a review and share the episode with your friends and family. Your support helps keep our traditions alive and our tables more diverse. Do follow us on Instagram at Hungry Immigrant and my personal account Abang Brian for behind-the-scenes looks and extra tidbits from each episode. We love to see how food inspires you, so do tag us in your next food adventure. I'm Abang Brian, reminding you to savor every bite and cherish every moment at the table. Until next time, keep your plates adventurous and your hearts open.